episode of TBI Uncovered. I'm your host, Erika Renee, and I'm a TBI survivor looking to change the world one story at a time. TBI Uncovered is the platform that allows both traumatic and brain injury survivors, gunshot survivors, stroke survivors, AVM survivors, survivors of various brain conditions, survivors alike, the disability community, caregivers, medical professionals, organizations, and anyone suffering with brain injuries to share their stories and provide tips plus resources and bring awareness to those impacted. My guest today is very courageous and adventurous. She's a baker of Sunshine Baking, world traveler, adventurous, and cat lover. And as you guessed, she's also a traumatic brain injury survivor. So let's welcome another survivor changing the world, Cynthia Dyke. Hi, Cynthia. How are
Hello.
you?
Good. So nice to meet you.
Yes, you as well. I'm so excited for this interview. So I'd like to first start off by asking you to introduce yourself and tell us your TBI story.
Yeah. So I'm Cynthia Dyke. I'm 29. My 30th birthday is almost coming up. And yeah, oh, it's exciting.
Yes.
And yeah, I had a traumatic brain injury in 2015 due to a motor vehicle accident I was the passenger in.
Mhm.
Yeah, should I talk about that a little bit?
Yes, please.
So I was 23 at the time. I was going camping with a big group of my friends, and we were sort of deciding on what cars to take because we weren't all going to take cars. We were going to carpool together.
Mhm.
And I decided to ride with a friend's girlfriend. I guess I didn't know too well. And at that time, you're just like not thinking of safety. And
Mhm.
especially being so young, I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking to ask her questions like, well, how long have you had your driver's license for?
Mhm.
Are you an experienced driver? So I didn't know, unfortunately, that she just received her driver's license.
Mhm.
She was a brand new driver. And the accident was sort of silly in my mind. Like, I've had a lot of anger about it that I've had to work through,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah, it just boils down to she wasn't an experienced driver. So we were on a country road because we were going camping, and she sort of went on the dirt curb,
Okay.
and I think that freaked her out. She wasn't expecting
Mhm.
that. And so she overcorrected and sort of
Mhm.
was like on the side of oncoming traffic
Oh
and
wow.
saw cars coming and then freaked out again, overcorrected again.
Mhm.
And because it was a country road, that it had quite deep ditches.
Oh
And so
yeah.
we flipped in the ditch and hit a telephone pole on the sort of back seat side I was on.
Mhm.
So although she was driving and my husband actually was in the passenger's front seat, the real impact happened to the back seat, and I was the only one in the back seat. So I sustained a lot of injuries, and I
Wow.
guess luckily they didn't sustain injuries.
Yeah. It's just it's it's funny. It was not funny, but it's so they said they didn't say any injuries, but you did. You were in the back. So when the car hit the telephone post,
Mhm.
did it was the back, was it like kind of like the back kind of hit first or?
Yeah, so okay, so I'm in the back seat and we have a whole bunch of camping gear and
Yeah.
luggage and stuff right beside me, and
Mhm.
the car was crushed on the seat beside me in the back. So like right where all our camping gear and everything was, that side of the car was
Mhm.
crushed. And the front of the car wasn't affected as much, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. It's
So yeah, I had lots of injuries from this. Like I fractured my skull in two places. I
mhm.
obviously had the TBI. My jaw
Mhm.
broke. I needed surgery on my jaw right away, and my wrist broke as well.
Did you have to learn how to talk again, or was it that wasn't affected?
Yeah, I think because I was in a coma. I was in an induced coma for
Mhm.
about a week,
Okay.
due to the to having the TBI and brain
Yeah.
bleeding and all kinds of things like that. And I guess what I've learned is that mostly anyone waking up from a coma, yeah, sort of has to learn to talk and walk again. But
Mhm.
I think, at least my experience, is that my mobility came on a lot sooner than I
Okay.
see with like stroke victims, for
Okay.
instance. Like, it seems to
Gotcha.
me like that's something stroke victims really struggle with. Some people for a very long time,
Yeah.
mobility. I mean, some people's mobility obviously is affected forever,
Yeah.
but walking for me didn't take longer than a few weeks. And I
Okay.
know it takes longer for some people. I know it takes
Hmm.
shorter for some people,
Because
but
I've been on my journey for quite some time, over 10 years. So,
yeah.
and when I say my injury, I had a stroke and I've also had a brain injury from a gunshot wound. So it's like I
Oh
had
my
all these
gosh.
different, yeah. So it wasn't just one thing with me, it was like a several things. And so it's taken me quite a while to bounce back, but it's coming together slowly but surely. But it's definitely bouncing back. So I know what you mean when you said like it takes some people a longer time than some people. Depending on where your brain is affected at. So
Exactly. So I feel incredibly fortunate to
yes,
have the mobility I
yeah,
have, because I
yeah,
know that is not everybody for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you say you experienced some anger. Was it towards the young lady or just the overall situation that happened?
Yeah, I think I've heard other brain injury survivors can relate to having anger
Mm-hmm.
about their injury or how their life has been impacted. So I think it's on two different levels. I think on one level, it's it's just kind of why me, right? Like, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's something a lot of us ask ourselves at different points. Like, I'm angry that it had to happen to me,
Mm-hmm.
that my life has been so impacted. But yeah, on another level, I have felt a lot of anger towards the driver.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been years of sort of working through that and coming to a place where coming to a place of forgiveness, really.
I love that
um,
forgiveness.
Slowly but surely. It's something I'm always working on, and maybe it'll
Mm-hmm.
be something that I am always working on in the future too. But I do think I deserve the peace that comes with
Absolutely.
forgiveness. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's different when I don't think I've heard it before. Forgiveness, and maybe I have, and just don't just break out for a second. But forgiveness is a big piece of it, and it's like when you forgive someone, you let go of all that anger, all that resentment you have towards a person or whoever, whatever happened for the situation. It like you become released, and
Mhm.
it no longer has a hold on you. And so I'm
Mhm.
glad you said forgiveness that you're working on for your forgiveness journey because it's necessary in your for your own mental health. It's necessary for you too. Forgiveness is for you just as much as for the other person. So I'm glad you made note of that. It's very essential piece of the puzzle of learning to come to acceptance and accept the totality of the whole situation at hand. So
It
yeah.
really, really is. So it's a big thing I've been working through.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's definitely worth it to touch on
It
that.
it is. And so how has your mindset changed? How have you learned to shift your mindset after your injury to focus on the more positive side of things?
Yeah, well, it's been really hard. I'll say that. And I'll say that in the first few years of my recovery, I really couldn't get there. I really couldn't really make that change in
Mhm.
perspective, if I'm
Mhm.
completely honest. I was in a very, very bad place for the first two
Mhm.
years. And I really wasn't myself at all. I
Mhm.
couldn't really communicate it then, but
Mhm.
it's like I had these old memories from my old life, but it didn't
Mhm.
really feel like they were mine. Like, it didn't
Mhm.
really feel like those things happened to me. The personal aspect of my
Gotcha.
memories wasn't really there for the first couple of years. And so it was hard to find any positivity or any peace at all, really, during that time. I
Mhm.
think yeah, and I used a lot of coping mechanisms to sort of
Mhm.
soothe myself. Like, I started binge eating and using
Mhm.
food to soothe myself.
Mhm.
I started using cannabis to soothe myself.
Okay.
Um, and so it was quite a long journey, I would say, to start changing my perspective, to start looking at the positive, to
Mhm.
start accepting my injury and my limitations. And I'd say what really helped me do that was therapy, for sure. For
Okay.
sure, doing the hard work in
Yeah.
therapy and finding a therapist that I really connected with,
Absolutely. That's very
that
important.
I felt comfortable enough to dive into these deep, deep issues
Absolutely.
with.
I mean, I've been in therapy myself, so I know how intense it can get and how important it is to have somebody that gets you, that get
Yeah.
that's not judgments or that has a listening ear that can actually have the tools and knowledge to help you. I've been in therapy myself, so I know I'm not in therapy now, but I have gone to therapy, and so it's the best I could have done for myself. So, do you agree? Very very helpful.
It really is. If there's any survivors out there that are
Mhm.
considering it and haven't done it
Mhm.
before, or that have
Yeah.
tried it and didn't have a good experience,
Mhm.
I would say don't write it off. Try
Mhm.
another.
Yes.
I tried 2 therapists before I
Mhm.
found the one I really connected with. I've talked to
Mhm.
other people and they've tried many more, like a
Mhm.
handful, before
Mhm.
they found someone that was right for them. Right? I
Mhm.
think it's like they need to have the right kind of credentials to help you,
Yes.
I'd say.
Absolutely.
Another big one for me that I found out sort of in the learning process was that having someone that identified as the same gender as me was
Okay.
actually really important, more important than I had anticipated.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I tried seeing a male therapist for a little while, and he had
Mhm.
great credentials. And
Mhm.
he'd been working with brain injured patients for like 20 years or something. Like he was
Mhm.
extremely, extremely qualified, you know?
Okay. Very natural.
And I don't know, it just didn't work.
Yeah,
Like,
it didn't feel right.
I just didn't feel like
Mhm.
he related to me on a bunch of
Mhm.
different levels or understood me on some different levels.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I needed to talk to a woman.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. For some people, that's not sort of a factor for them.
Yeah.
But for others, just that slightly more comfortable feeling is really, really important, I
It
think.
really is, especially when you're being vulnerable in that sense. You want somebody that you really can feel connect, like you said, connect with. Because if I'm not connected with you, I'm not going to be as open with you. I'm not going to be able to get to the deep root of the issue, my issues. So it's
Hmm.
very important that you find somebody that you're comfortable with. So yes, by all means, don't write it off like Cynthia said. Don't write it off and say, "Oh, well, I'm just not going to do it because I can't find the right person." The right person will come along. Just keep doing your research and take your time with finding the person that's meant for you, that's good for you, a good fit for you. Because not all therapists are
Exactly.
good for you.
Don't be afraid to just go for one session and
Yeah,
decide, nah,
just
I'll try
yeah,
another one. Like,
yeah,
that's okay. That's
it
you're
is.
paying, it's a service you're paying
It's
for.
service. It is.
So don't feel weird about finding the exact right one.
Yes, I agree with that advice wholeheartedly. So has one of your senses become stronger since your injury that you noticed?
My senses.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Something I haven't really thought of before.
I'm gonna say you
Um,
this. I'm gonna say my because my eyes have gotten my eyesight have gotten so much stronger,
oh yeah,
and I would say my sense of smell has gotten like heightened too. That's my everything.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, I think not really senses, but I think I'm more sensitive to things
Mhm.
like obviously, I can have like overstimulation and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
what I mean is I think I am more sensitive to, I don't know, when people are left out, or
Mhm.
um more sensitive to maybe people's needs that they don't regularly talk about, but
Okay.
it will be now something I sort of remember more.
Mhm.
I think just because of, right, the way we've been affected from our
Yeah.
injuries. I think it makes us more sensitive to other people's needs as well.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I never I could say that too for myself that my ability to have more compassion is gotten more heightened too. So I
Of
can sense this.
course.
I can do this. I can agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you become more fearless at your injury?
Yes, of course. I mean, how can you not to some extent? I think if you go through such a painful,
Yeah.
traumatic experience, whatever it is, I think it generally makes you stronger.
Mhm.
But I also don't want to use that as sort of an excuse to
Mhm.
diminish
Yeah.
traumatic events either. It's not
Mhm.
like, oh, well, good thing that happened because now you're
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah. I
Um,
get what you
it, it
mean.
just it just is, I think, a side effect.
Can you share one fearless moment that you had now that you didn't have before? Is there one thing you did there like, oh, I probably went in there before my injury, but now that it gave me the boldness to do it.
Yeah, well, really what the injury has given me the most, which is maybe the most positive thing I think, is just finding my authentic self and just
Mm,
being my authentic self and being unapologetic about that,
that's right.
and and not modifying my actions or what I'm doing in life to simply please others.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was really living my life in a way before my injury that was really for others, really to impress others, to get
Mm,
acceptance from others,
mm,
to be liked by others,
mm.
to seem successful to
Yeah,
others.
yeah.
And I was really ignoring my personal wants and needs, my personal passions, just for what I thought other people would like from me.
Mm,
And I don't think without such a traumatic experience, I could have even realized that, like that I could have even admitted to myself or realized I wasn't really doing things for myself. I was doing
mm.
things for other people. And yeah, I don't know, when your life is so rocked, and so shaken, like it
Yeah,
is from a brain injury, I don't you kind of just have to start doing things for
you do.
yourself. You,
You
you have to because of your new needs, right? You kind of
do.
have to start sticking up for yourself. And
Absolutely.
so in doing that, I realized that all sorts of things in my life, not just, I don't know, like saying yes to something I didn't really want to do, but like
Mm-hmm.
the career I was going for
Mm,
even was not actually something I was passionate about. It was something I thought would make me seem successful to others. So before my injury, I was obsessed with trying to get into law school.
a lawyer.
And
Wow.
yeah, and I was in like a paralegal program. I was halfway
Hmm.
through that, but really I wanted to be a lawyer, not a paralegal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was putting myself through so much stress trying to do this, so much stress getting the best marks I could get,
Yeah.
and just trying to be the best, just trying to get people to like me and think I'm
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
And really looking back, none of that was for me. I didn't want that.
Hmm.
And it is kind of just a miracle in a way that
I
my
love that.
injury and the accident made me take a step back and made me really think about what I want. And that wasn't what I wanted. And now I'm
Mhm.
living for me, and now I'm doing what I want.
Yeah.
And some of that
Mhm.
is like baking and doing custom
Mhm.
cakes.
That's beautiful, and it's the simple things like that, and it can be like so minute to somebody else, but because it's your journey, it's your life. So, and I'm glad that you had the confidence to say, you know what, I don't care what you think about me. I want to do what I desire to do because I'm passionate about it. When you're not passionate about something, you don't even care. You don't give it your all. You don't even you have to do it. It's like, I do this today. Like you're not even like, I want to be excited to do what I'm doing. Like I love talking about range. I love talking about brains. I love all that stuff. Like I
Hmm.
love it's what I'm passionate about. So you got to be. That's make you when you get up in the morning to be like, oh, I get there's no difference today. Like I just like having that excitement and that joy, and it's so important that we have that as people, not
Hmm.
just me and yourself, but just anybody who's out there listening. Like, don't do something because somebody wants you to do it for one, because you're gonna be unhappy. You
Hmm.
might not be happy now, but years down the line, you're like, I wish I would have did that. I wish. Well, you can do it now. So not the other wish you can do it now. Do it now. 5 years.
Exactly. You'll just be full of regrets if you
Yeah,
don't. Yeah.
yeah.
And it just becomes
Really doing
harder and
that.
harder down the line
And
to dive into what you're really passionate about.
you'll be 50 years old. Like, I wish I would have did that. But because
Yeah.
you listen to other people, trying to people please and to do all these different things, care what other people think, you're diminishing yourself. You're playing small. I call playing small. You're playing small. So don't play
Exactly.
small. Or big. So play big. Don't play small. We hear the word survivor. What does that? What does that mean to you? We hear the word survivor.
Oh, that's a great question. To me, yeah, that means someone that's really strong, someone that has incredible perseverance.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, someone that isn't stuck. That's what I
Hmm.
think.
I like that. This is stuck. Hmm.
Yeah.
I like that.
Um, I think, yeah, someone really compassionate, someone that's been just through hell, and they're not going to put anyone else through hell because they
Hmm.
know just what it's like.
Yes, I love that definition of it. Love that. For your experience of surviving a traumatic situation, what's something you tell the survivors to avoid? Not necessarily just your situation, but avoid a situation period that can affect their life in a affect their life in a tumultuous way.
Right. Okay. Yeah, well, for me, I think something I should have tried to avoid more. I think you can't entirely avoid it, but
Hmm.
I could have used some advice, I guess, earlier in my recovery about sort of being in denial about um parts of my injury or how my injury is impacting me. I think I was in really, really bad denial for a really long time. And yeah, I guess finding that acceptance took me a while. And I guess I wish I had the community then. I wish I had the
Hmm.
brain injury community then in 2015 or 2016,
Yeah,
2017. Um, because I just really needed other people
it's
that were
important.
dealing with the same kind of things I was dealing
Hmm.
with to tell me, look, this is kind of how your life is now in some
Hmm.
ways. Of course, there's your whole life to improve
Yeah,
on, all the ways you've been affected, right?
yeah.
But in a lot of ways, you kind of like try to accept what your life is right now because it's
Hmm.
kind of going to be like this next year, and the year after that there's kind of going to be some similarities still, you know. I don't know, I just feel like I had a lot of doctors around me then,
Yeah.
and they can't give you the same kind of advice
No,
another survivor can give you. It's
no.
very clinical coming from them, and it's very
The books, the books.
the books, like
Yeah, the
they
books.
don't have that personal touch and the
Yeah.
personal things I think a lot of us need to
Mhm.
hear. And so
Mhm.
that was something I just hope other people can avoid a little more than I did. Have a
Yeah.
little less trouble than I did in that area. And maybe also talking to a therapist and finding a
Yeah.
therapist is a way to work on acceptance and to move through the sort of denial stage, because right, we're all grieving our old selves,
Hmm.
and denial is just part of that grieving process.
So, do you think getting counseling early on will be beneficial than getting it later on, or do you think it could be in both situations? It could be useful.
For me, I definitely it was something I started almost right
Hmm.
away, and it's
Hmm.
something I'm still doing. It's stuff I'm
Okay.
still working on. So 7 years later,
Okay.
um, so I personally think, yeah, go ahead and like try some different therapists
Mhm.
in the early stages of your recovery.
Understand. Okay.
And I think if there's times when it becomes too much,
Mhm.
or you start hitting on something really deep and you feel like you need to take a break from it, I say do that too. I say take a break from it, find another therapist, or take a couple months off of doing
Mhm.
therapy. It's not a race,
It's a marathon.
it's a marathon.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really individual to you, like what you're going through
Mhm.
mentally,
Yes.
really individual to your injury too. Um, so I think it's something important all along the way, but I think wherever you need to take a break, you should definitely take a break.
Absolutely. I can agree with you. Say, I remember when I was initially injured, I didn't know a single person that had a brain injury. That long had a brain injury, like I had a brain injury. I was shot.
Mhm.
You don't find some people that even survive gunshots to their head. So it's not very common. And so
Right.
I felt so alone. And having a community is very important. Yeah, I had, the doctors and I believe the chaplain people, they come to your room, things like that, talk to you. But having that experience with an actual person who's been through this, or not even just having my injury, but like having a brain injury, period, to say, well, you might experience this, you might experience that. So beware, just give me a heads up just in case it might. Because everybody
Hmm.
doesn't experience the same thing. Also, we're all different. We don't go through the
Exactly.
same things. We go through different things. And I know as survivors, maybe through nerve fatigue. I'm just now experiencing nerve fatigue at 14 years. So I never had any kind of fatigue. Period. I've never had it until now. It's just kind of I don't have it as much now, but I have experienced it. So we don't all experience the same thing at the same time. So I
Hmm.
think it's beneficial to have somebody say, hey, just to have a person that can understand, because regular people can't understand. You know, might not be able to remember some things sometimes, or being angry. You don't even know why you're angry. Like, you go through so many different go through the motion, go through the motions. Like, it's like a wave. You never know. So it's just had a person that like relatable to you is very important. So I wish I would have
Hmm.
had that in my next recovery.
Yeah, I want to just mention about sort of like changing symptoms or developing
Mhm.
symptoms later
Mhm.
on, or not even recognizing symptoms for a period of
Mhm.
time. I just want to say that, yeah, for me, like some of that's definitely happened to me. Symptoms
Mhm.
have sort of developed, or
Mhm.
I've realized them after some time. So, for instance, in the first few years of my recovery, I didn't think I really had headaches at all.
Mhm.
Like, if doctors were going through the list of symptoms asking me if I had them, I would say no to headaches.
Mhm.
And I think it's because I wasn't recognizing that I was having headaches.
Mhm.
I was having headaches, but I wasn't recognizing them as headaches. I was recognizing them as overstimulation and fatigue, and maybe also even mood swings.
Mhm.
And it's because when I was having a headache, those things would also be happening.
Gotcha.
And those symptoms were just outshining my headache symptom to the
Mhm.
point where I couldn't even acknowledge the
Yeah.
headache as happening. So,
So it wasn't painful at all?
I couldn't recognize the pain. All I
Mhm.
could recognize was like I was basically in meltdown stage.
Mhm.
That all I recognized was I was having a meltdown basically. Like I was way overstimulated, I was way too tired, way fatigued.
Mhm.
Maybe I would start feeling dizzy. Um, and now I know that all those things were happening in conjunction with the headache. The headache was happening. I don't know, it wasn't a symptom I
Mhm.
could pick out.
Mhm.
And maybe my brain was so injured and was really healing during that time. Maybe that's one reason why
Yeah.
I couldn't pick it out as a symptom. But
Hmm.
obviously now, yeah, I have regular headaches now.
Okay.
And I don't know where I am now in my recovery. Yeah, I definitely can recognize them, and I treat them differently now because now
Mhm.
the I realize it's happening sooner. Like I know my triggers,
Gotcha.
and I'm able to soothe myself sooner than really waiting until that big meltdown.
You're letting it linger on. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very beneficial.
To recognize it earlier and
Mhm.
deal with it earlier.
I love that. Yeah, this is very important to know. It's like your body do different changes, and just we're women, so just like when you come on your cycle, you get symptoms before you come on your cycle. So it's like
Mhm.
it's kind of the same thing.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So moving forward, I call our second chance a 2.0 chance of life. So you're Erica 2.0, you're Cynthia 2.0. So you're a baker, you got your own baking company like that, so amazing. You're like, yay.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
when did you decide baking is something you want to do? And have you always loved baking?
Yeah, I have actually always loved baking. I really started baking and like screwing around with different recipes and
Yeah.
stuff when I was 14.
Okay.
And I've sort of just like worked my way up from there, like learning new recipes and teaching myself more.
Mhm.
And I guess after my injury, one of the jobs I did that I was sort of able to do was work at a local bakery really close to
Okay.
where I was living at the time. And
Nice.
I was mostly working in the front, like in the cash. But
Mhm.
as I sort of worked there over a
Mhm.
few years, um, I started doing more baking and more
Okay.
cooking. There was sort of like a breakfast bar on the other side of the
Mhm.
bakery, and I would do stuff there. And yeah, I just sort of started learning a bit more of the baking in the back when unfortunately they went out of business and had to
Mm.
close.
Mm.
So I learned a little bit there, but I would say I'm mostly self taught.
Okay, I love that. I love
Yeah,
that
and I
too.
love the concept of 2.0 after our
Mm.
injuries,
Mhm.
um, because I don't know, that really describes it well, I think.
Mhm.
Because in one sense, I'm always trying to communicate to my family and friends and people around me that I feel this duality after my injury. Like, on one hand, I am the same person I
Yeah.
was before injury. And on another level, I'm also different.
Mhm.
And so 2.0, I think,
Mhm.
describes it so well. I'm the same, but I'm different.
Yes, is that I would agree. I would say the same thing. We're the same people, look the same, but we're a lot wiser. Got
Yeah.
a lot more experience on our belt,
Yeah.
So we do some stuff that people can't even fathom. So we do some pretty tough stuff. So I think it's 2.0 is definitely a great thing. I know another survivor, he's to the T 2.0, and so
Nice.
I interviewed him last year. We
Hmm.
talked about we talked about that. But I think his is more for something different. But I love the 2.0 because it's like actually you're the same person. We got to take a chance. So 2.0. So that's why it's where it came from.
Exactly.
Where it originated from. So you have your own custom making business, as I stated. And what's the name of your business and what desserts do you make? What's the fan favorites that people request all the time?
Yeah, it's called Sunshine Baking.
That's fine.
I'm just starting to grow it, so we're
Mhm.
sort of still in the beginning new phase of this
Okay.
business.
Okay.
But I've had a few clients already,
Yay.
and yeah, I've definitely been baking a really, really long time for fun and teaching myself. I think maybe my signature thing right now
Mhm.
is like a chocolate drip cake.
Oh, the drip. Okay.
So yeah, yeah, like with the
Like has like
have you
little designs on the side, like the little. Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, but I love to do all kinds of flavors and really ask my client lots of questions on what they
Okay.
like and kind of design stuff that they like and come up with something totally unique to them.
So you do birthday cakes and you do the family desserts. You
Yes,
do
totally. And
cookies?
all kinds of desserts. Yeah. If anyone wanted anything in particular, cinnamon buns, cookies,
Really?
anything, I can come up with it for sure.
Do you do pies as well?
Oh, yes,
Oh
yes.
wow. Okay. Well,
Hmm.
yeah, I got around the board then. I love it. Do you get orders? Are you got orders from other states or other people requesting um your desserts?
Yeah, right now it's just localized to Ottawa, Ontario. So
Okay.
right now, I think that's sort of my limit for
Okay.
delivery.
For right now. Okay. For right now.
Yeah, but yeah. So I
They
don't know if
can-
anyone
yeah.
is in Ottawa, Ontario, or I don't know, maybe Toronto and coming to visit or something.
Yeah. Check you out. See?
Check me
Yeah.
out. Yeah, definitely.
So do you have like a standalone store or
No, it's just sort of a business I'm doing out of my house right now.
okay,
But yeah, I have all the tools I need for sure,
okay,
and I have an awesome stand-up freezer in my
okay.
basement that I use for my cakes,
Yeah.
which is really,
Yeah.
really convenient. And a nice little sort of like area in my foyer for customers and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, I love
Yeah.
it. You gotta start somewhere. The important
Gotta
thing is
start somewhere.
the important thing is you started. A lot of people don't start. So that's half the battle. So you're doing a lot better. A lot of people are
It's
doing.
true. And
It.
yeah, I think I just got a lot of encouragement from friends
Yeah.
and family,
Mhm.
and I was just like, "Yeah, you know what? I should do
Right.
this. This is
Right.
something I love doing,
Yeah.
and people love my baking."
That's
So,
wonderful. That's
yeah.
wonderful. I love it. So, like I told, I shared earlier with you, I had a cat. His name was Seymour. I love Mr.
Mhm.
Seymour. But ironically, I'm allergic to cats now. My eyes get watery. I can't be around a cat for more than
Mm.
a minute because my eyes get watery. I'm gonna sneeze and it's not gonna be good.
Oh, no.
So, what's your cat? What's your cat's name? And how long have you had her?
Yeah, her name is Honey, and I got her
Mm,
in 2016.
okay.
I would say she's like a bit of a, I don't know, like support animal or something
Yeah.
like that. Like I
Hmm.
definitely got her earlier in my recovery because I heard, I don't know, pets can really aid in your recovery, I guess.
Hmm.
Oh, and I also heard that cats purring, I don't know, does something magical and
Really?
great for healing bones.
Really? Hmm.
And obviously I had, broken bones and stuff from
Yeah.
my accident.
Hmm.
And well, I don't know. I always grew up with cats too. Actually, I grew up with lots of animals.
Really? I did too.
My Did you too?
Yeah. All kind of like turtles, hamsters, guinea pigs, dog, all kind of stuff. Yeah, all kind of
Cute.
stuff.
My husband is always joking like I lived on a farm like when I was a kid, but I didn't really live on a farm. We just had a lot of animals.
Animals.
Like at one time when I was a kid, we had 4 dogs, like
Oh,
2
wow.
cats, fish, birds. Like it was
I
getting a
had fish. I
little
had fish
crazy.
too. I had
What?
fish.
Say that
Yeah,
again.
I had fish. I had fish too. I had the,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we had.
they're beta fish. They're beta fish and
Oh, I
goldfish,
love
I
betta
believe.
fish.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah, it was
had
fun.
goldfish, and
They
one
was
of our
fun.
goldfish get huge. Did you
They
know that?
do.
Like
They
they
real
get
big.
they get
Yeah,
huge.
they get real big. They do. So I see your Instagram page. You always travel. What's some of your favorite places you've been to?
Recently, yeah, me and my partner went to New York.
Oh
I
yeah.
hadn't been to New York City yet.
I never been to New York either. So
Yeah, well, actually, I live quite close to the border, I
mm.
guess. So I've gone over to Watertown, I think it's called, just for like shopping and things like that. But I
Oh,
hadn't been to,
wait, so Watertown?
yeah, I think it's called
Mm.
Watertown.
Okay.
That's sort
Mm.
of like the closest town to the Canadian border, right
Okay.
where I live.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's sort of been times like as I was growing up that going over to the States for shopping sort of like
Hmm.
made sense financially at times.
Hmm.
Um, but I'd never been to New York City, like the actual city,
Yeah.
to do like fun stuff like Broadway and like
Mhm.
go to
Statue
fun
of Liberty,
restaurants,
Statue of Liberty, and those kind of
Statue of
things.
Liberty, exactly, all that fun stuff. So
Mm.
yeah, me and my partner did that recently. That was really, really
That's
fun. And we
cool.
went to the music festival there, the Governor's Ball, it's called.
Okay. I've heard before. That was well.
Yeah, and to actually like going to music festivals and stuff like that, that was a pastime I love to do before my injury.
Hmm.
And after my brain injury, yeah, going to concerts and festivals and stuff like that was pretty hard and something I couldn't do for a few years.
Because
And
of the
so,
simulation.
sorry, because of the overstimulation and stuff, yeah, definitely. It
Hmm.
was too loud, it was too many people. It was probably just too late at night too. Like
Hmm.
I was going to bed really early and I didn't really have the stamina and energy to do something like that.
Hmm.
But now in my recovery, it's something I'm able to do again.
Yeah.
And I love that. It brings me so much joy. And I don't know, I just hope that little bit of information helps anyone that is feeling
Yeah.
really down about where they are and feeling like, you know, old things they used to enjoy they can't do anymore. Give
That's true.
yourself more time,
Yes.
and you never know. Maybe a few years down the line, it will be possible.
Absolutely. So a couple more questions. What do you do to celebrate your anniversary?
The accident anniversary.
Yeah, I made a word anniversary, accident anniversary, so
Yeah,
anniversary.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, well, I guess I call it my brain injury birthday now.
Okay, I like it too. I
Yeah,
like it.
so I sort of celebrate
Mhm.
it like a second birthday.
I love that.
I eat cake because I love cake.
Yeah.
And I go out and do enjoyable things that I would maybe like doing around my birthday. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that's like going out and going shopping
Mhm.
or
Whatever you want to
like
do, it's your
just
day.
going downtown Ottawa and walking around or treating
Yeah.
myself to a special lunch or special
Mhm.
dinner.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I do. I try and make it positive because definitely my first few anniversaries, I didn't know what to do.
Mhm.
I had no one in my life that this happened to. I didn't know any other
Mhm.
survivors.
Mhm.
My doctors weren't giving me any advice. Like they were just kind of
Mhm.
like, "Oh yeah, the anniversary is a hard day, isn't it? Like that sucks." But they
Mhm.
weren't giving me any
Right.
advice on what to do, on how to make this better for me.
Mhm.
And really, I got the advice online from other survivors. I heard
Mhm.
another survivor was celebrating their anniversary like it was a birthday. Like
Mhm.
it is,
It is.
just
It
like
is
what we were
your
talking
birthday.
about. We
It
were
is.
born again in a
It
way.
is.
This is our second chance
It
at
is.
life. This is 2.0 for us.
Mhm.
So that's my 2.0 birthday.
I love that.
And I celebrate it like, that's my birth and I'm going to celebrate it.
I agree. I used to be sad. It's like you think you have to be sad around the time, and you don't have to be.
You
And
don't have to be.
the first few years, I get it. But after a while, it's like, okay, okay, get it together. Like, stay sad all the time. Like, I don't like being sad. I don't like being mad. I don't like being any negative emotion. I don't like that. It doesn't feel
Hmm.
good to my body. It doesn't. It hurts. It harms your body. Actually, it actually harms your body to be
Exactly.
angry and all that kind of stuff. So it's like I said, I got to do something different. So I've learned to celebrate it in a different way. So I mean, I'm not saying I don't have my moments or I get sad because I still do, but
Hmm.
it's they're far in between. So yeah, you got to find a way to celebrate it. So what's next for you? The Sunshine Bakery.
Yeah. Well, expanding as much as I can, getting my name there out there as much as
Yeah.
possible. I think I'm interested in showcasing my stuff at different
Mhm.
farmers markets in my
Yeah.
area. So I haven't done that yet, but that's my
Taste
next
testing.
kind of
Get that
venture
taste
that I'm gonna.
testing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that taste testing.
Exactly. And just continuing with my recovery because I think it never stops.
Mm.
And I think even though I'm 7 years down the line, there's still many improvements I can make. And I am still improving, I am still making
Mhm.
gains. For instance, because my injury happened in a car accident, and I didn't have my driver's license at the time. Driving has really been a big fear of mine, I guess I'd say, a big hurdle to overcome, because physically I am able to drive.
Mhm.
So it's been a really, really long time and a really long journey to get my driver's license. And I recently did that.
Yay!
And I am driving. I am able to drive. I'm going out and
Oh,
getting my own
you.
groceries all by myself
Yeah.
to the
That's so
faraway
wonderful.
spot.
Yeah, such an accomplishment. It's little things for me.
And yeah, that's a really, really big accomplishment for me. Something I
Yeah.
wasn't sure I would actually ever be able to accomplish for a long
Wonderful.
time. And wow, that gives me a lot of hope for the future too, that I will be able to accomplish more things that right now I'm not even sure I'll be able to do. But maybe I am able to do
Mhm.
them if I sort of take my goal one step at a time.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Break it down to little pieces. You don't have to accomplish everything at one time. It'll usually baby steps towards it. That's what counts. So I love that. So one more last question. What
Mhm.
does brain injury awareness mean to you?
Wow, I think it's so important. I think it's so important to educate as many people around us as we possibly can. I mean, to me, awareness awareness is up to each and every one of us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you have a brain injury, part of yeah, I mean, it's up to you to educate and bring awareness to those around you in your personal life. And I think things will get a whole lot better. And I know this from personal experience. Things get a whole lot better when you start doing that.
Mhm.
I think for a long time, I was afraid or I felt small. I felt maybe ashamed of where I was
Mhm.
with my injury. And yeah, it made me feel small and it made me feel like it was something I didn't want to talk about.
Mhm.
And that was detrimental to me
Sure.
most because it meant the people around me didn't know the details about my injury and
Yes.
about my circumstance that they really needed to know to treat me in the right way.
Yes.
And it's not the fault of the people of, the sort of regular people in our lives that don't have
Mhm.
injuries or that
Mhm.
haven't been touched by injury before in any other way. It's not their fault that they don't have the information and that they're ignorant to, a lot of the struggles we go through. So I think awareness is so important, and I think it's something that hopefully all of us do regularly,
Yes.
because we deserve the people around us to know what we're going through.
Absolutely. Couldn't say it
Yeah.
better than that. We'll put a pencil right there. Couldn't have said it better than that. And yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. You can't be mad at people for something that you're not even talking about. But what
Hmm.
they don't know. It's like being mad at a child for not knowing how to um um ride a bike. If you never showed them or never taught them, how they're gonna learn. So you can't be mad
Exactly.
at people for something that you haven't even talked about. So I like that you said that. So that's pretty good. Put a pencil right there. So congratulations on your baking business.
Thank
That's so
you.
exciting again. I'm thinking my first baker. I don't think I've had a baker before. My first baker I was
Ah.
yeah. So you're setting the standard.
Well, if anyone is any survivors are just like, I don't know, bored in their house and looking for something fun to do and something fun to eat, I don't know, let's like try baking something simple like apple crisp or something. That's my advice.
Get in the kitchen. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it'll brighten your day a little bit.
Yeah. Sunshine. Where about sunshine? So I pray your business expands beyond what you could think or even imagine. I pray God just shocks you what's going to happen with your business. I can just feel it's going to be great. And
Thank you
so
so much.
you're so welcome. Thank you again for taking time out to out of your schedule to help me inspire the masses with your story. I know it's going to touch somebody. All your advice you gave. We're going to counseling on the other great things you said, the gym you drive. So thank you for that as well. And everyone how they can stay connected with you online on Instagram and support your business as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
You're more welcome. So let me know how they can follow you and support your business.
Yes, yeah. Follow me on Instagram to know more about brain injury, TBI, mental health struggles at Cynthia underscore Dyke. That's CYNTHIA underscore DYKE.
Mhm.
And they can find my baking business or just like, I don't know, the fun new thing I'm baking
Yeah.
at sunshine underscore cakes dot baking. That's on Instagram as well.
Yes. I love that. So thank you again for you all tuning in to hear Cynthia's story. You can connect with Cynthia on Instagram, and she said at Cynthia CYNTHIA underscore DYKE, and check out her baking business page at Sunshine underscore cakes dot baking, and show us some support. Like her page, like the picture she's posting. Our delicious treats. I gotta look on her again myself and see how the cakes. I love chocolate, so I'm a chocolate lover. So I love
Nice, check it
chocolate.
out.
Yes, check it out. So that's all for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed me, Cynthia, learn more about her. As always, you can connect me on Instagram, Erika R. Walker, 878, and on YouTube, Erika Renee Walker. Tune in next week for another story of triumph, a survivor, or it could be another business or whatever. You never know. Well, Erika Renee, remember, we all have a story. Remember, you can change the world with yours. See y'all later. Bye.